Benavidez just answered every question in brutal fashion. The power translated, the speed translated, the gas tank translated. But what stood out most was the psychology. He did not come to survive the wait, he came to own it. Now Zurdo had moments, the jab was working, the combinations were there, but every time he stayed in the pocket too long, Benavidez changed gears and made him pay. So I'm going to give round by round analysis of the fight. And before I do that, it's important to acknowledge that the walk-in by Mike Tyson with Benavidez was absolutely epic. So let's go to round one. And in round one, Benavidez lands the right hand flush. So he's finding the backhand. And at the end of the round, he throws this wicked, mesmerizing 8 to 10 punch combination at the end. So the good part about this first round is that Benavidez is finding the range. And with regards to Zurdo, now Zurdo is taking the center of the ring. He's using that southpaw jab, which is effective. In the first minute, he's confidently winning the jab battle and he has a high volume of punches and he's throwing them short. However, his issue is defensive. He's not avoiding the backhand and he's in the pocket at the end of the round, which is enabling Benavidez to get his punches off. In round two, Benavidez then introduced the left hook to the body. Benavidez has a great left hook. And what I'm noticing is that Benavidez is pacing himself. So at the beginning of the round, he's pacing himself, and then we have another massive flurry at the end of the round. And those flurries, they're fast, they're mesmerizing, they're powerful. Now Zurdo is starting to introduce the straight left to the body behind the southpaw jab. And he's looking for that left-hand counter. Now he's not landing it, but he's looking for it, and that's a good thing. And he's trying to push Benavidez back, and he's throwing a lot of punches. So now we're in round three. And Benavidez again, he's landing the straight rights. So he's landing the backhands, but he's also catching or avoiding the counter. That's essential because the counter punching window is essential. And I think at times when he's on the inside, when he's in the pocket, it's like he's switching southpaw, and that's giving him a nice angle with the left. Again, he is exploding with combinations at the end. So there's a pattern here. And with Zurdo is getting very aggressive, maybe too aggressive at this point. He's throwing lots of short punches and he's pushing Benavidez to the ropes. But unfortunately, when he's in the pocket in the final minute of the round, he's being punished. Now, in my opinion, so far, Zurdo is doing some good things, but he's also making some small strategic errors. Now, going into round four, Benavidez is now taking a dominant position. So now the roles are reversed. He's been moving around a bit, then coming inside, but now he's taking a dominant position. And then there's this nice left hook. Again, it looks like when they're in the pocket, he's switching to southpaw, but it's kind of hard to see. And then he starts unloading some vicious punches at the end, explosive punches, and that causes a knockdown. Now with Zurdo, he starts with the southpaw jab. He's throwing it soft and then he's throwing it hard. And he's having some success, and he's having success with that right uppercut. Again, the angle from the southpaw position creates a unique angle. And he's trying to throw lots of short punches, but again, he's staying in the pocket at the end of the round, giving Benavidez those punching opportunities. And like I said, he ends up in the canvas and he looks hurt. So to me, the mistake is Zurdo is staying in the pocket, and that's at the end of the round, and that's when Benavidez is going through the gears. So then we go to round five, and Benavidez is now unleashing vicious punches, nice left hooks. When he gets confident, he starts unleashing those left hooks. And now, and this is crucial, now he's starting to counter in combination. So you can see that the confidence is growing, and nice powerful backhands, and they're landing. So the issue here is that Zurdo isn't taking away the backhand. So there's some defensive issues here. Zurdo is trying to make adjustments. So now he's trying to put the head on the chest. And he's trying to punch through sequences, so it's like head, 2 punches to the head and then to the body, which is nice. And he's throwing a lot of punches, a lot of short punches, and there's this nice right uppercut. So there's some things that I like here from Zurdo. But what I'm noticing is that Zurdo is starting to get significant nose damage and significant facial damage, and I feel like his corner is giving him good advice, but I don't feel like he's fully listening to the corner, and he has a really good corner. Now in round 6, Benavidez is loading up with that vicious left hook. Maybe not loading up, but he's throwing it with vicious intentions. and he throws a straight left. Again, it appears to be in a southpaw position, and a nice uppercut and a massive fury at the end. A massive, I say fury, well, it is a fury, but a massive flurry of punches, and the fight is over. Now, Zurdo at this point, he was using the jab, he's throwing short, crisp punches, he's pushing Benavidez back to the ropes, but again, he stays in the pocket at the end of the round, and that was ultimately his demise, because at the end of the round, that's when Benavidez explodes, and I feel like Zurdo should have had the boxing IQ to be nullifying Benavidez at the end of the round, because that's when he was really looking to be explosive. So to me, the ending was absolutely explosive. It was absolutely explosive. Benavidez truly looked like the monster. He was very impressive. And in a sense, you can argue that he answered all the questions. You could ask, what were those questions? But he answered a lot of the questions, whether it be taking a hard punch, if he could operate at that level, and could he operate at the highest level, at the cruiserweight limit. And he showed power. He definitely showed power. He showed speed. And more importantly, he showed ring IQ. And it was very impressive. When you put all those elements together, it was very impressive. And here's the interesting part. He did not just come to win. Of course, he wanted to win, but he did not just come to win. He didn't come to steal the fight. He actually came to dominate, and that showed in his performance. Zurdo, of course, came to win. His jab and combinations at time was good, but I do question his ring IQ. I think his ring IQ was quite disappointing. He wasn't listening to his corner, who was giving him some good instructions. One of the key things was that he stayed in the pocket too long. He stayed in the pocket too long at the end of the rounds, and that's when they were critical points, and he didn't use the jab enough. He used the jab, but not enough. And Jayapataya and Bivol will not make those same mistakes. I guarantee that. Benavidez, like I said, he was sensational, and he looked comfortable at the weight. He looked like he could excel at the weight. 10 punch combinations, that's insane. And he paced himself intelligently. His ring IQ was very evident in this fight. You know, he just didn't go out blasting. He went out there, he got his range, he measured his distance. He was composed, he fought intelligently. And the psychology of Benavidez was very strong. He maintained his composure. Zurdo tried to really push him back. Zurdo was aggressive. He presented a certain puzzle. But like I said, the psychology of Benavidez was strong. He was firm. And it was a sensational performance. So what happens now? He being Benavidez, can try and dominate the cruiserweight division, or he could go back down. I'm not a big fan of fightings going up and then going down. Reference Roy Jones, I think that's quite dangerous. However, if Benavidez stays at cruiserweight, the Jayapataya fight is a wicked fight. Man, that'll be a good fight. And Jayapataya, I believe, would provide a more complicated puzzle. He would provide a more complicated puzzle than Zurdo did, respectfully. The movement, the distance control, and the power, but more importantly, the ring IQ, will be some heavy things to deal with. And I believe that Jayapataya wants the fight. He will want the fight, but his team may not want the fight, because it's a very risky fight, and I think you would have to make Benavidez the favorite in that fight. But don't write Jayapataya off. He's a great fighter. The Bivol fight would be absolutely incredible. Bivol, of course, is recovering from 2 wars. He had 2 wars with Beterbiev. Those type of fights, they take something out of you. Bivol, being a warrior, Bivol is absolutely a warrior. He will want the fight. I don't know if his team will want the fight. Matter of fact, I think his team will want the fight, but they won't want it now. If you're Team Bivol, you want to see Benavidez in some hard fights. Why? Because you want to gather more evidence. You want to gather more evidence on Benavidez. I mean, we have the Khalid Plant reference, we have the Yard reference, we have the Zurdo reference, but you want to gather more information. And at the moment, Benavidez is on a roll, and his confidence, he's got such high confidence. And at the moment, it'll be hard for anyone to compete or beat Benavidez. He's really on a high right now. So I think the timing of the fight from Team Bivol's perspective, they would probably want to wait. That would be the intelligent decision. But like I said, Bivol has the psychology of a warrior. He would get in there tomorrow, I think. When it comes to the economics, what is the biggest fight? I think the Bivol fight would economically make the most sense. That would be the most profitable, maybe the one that has the most cultural relevance. But the Jaya Pattaya fight would also be a significant big fight culturally and economically. So in a simple sense, Benavidez looked incredible, absolutely incredible. So here's an interesting question. How do you beat him? Well, I think you have to stay out of the pocket for the majority of the fight, dictate the jab battle, win the jab battle, avoid his backhands. Because if you avoid his backhands, you can take away his momentum, frustrate him, counter his left hook. He loves throwing the left hook, so counter his left hook and use holding strategically. And again, I think beating Benavidez, you have to have high boxing ring IQ, and you have to have the power, speed and timing to get his respect. Of course, this is easier said than done. In theory, there's a way to beat him. Implementing that is something else. And with regards to Benavidez, his stock has risen. It was a sensational performance. It was a vicious performance, absolutely vicious. And he has a fan-friendly style. And I guess you have to consider him to be one of the best boxers out there now, because the performance was that impressive. It was, it was a daunting task. He was stepping up in weight. He was going up against someone who could punch, someone who has good punch resilience, someone that's a champion, and he passed that test with absolute flying colours. And he is the monster. Indeed, he's earned that name, and it's interesting to see if he goes down back to light heavyweight, because there's some super fights to be made there, or does he stay at cruiserweight, and does he go up to heavyweight? Who knows? On that night, Benavidez was absolutely incredible. So that's the end of the video. Now I'm trying to build a digital boxing community. That means I'm interested in your comments, I'm interested in your questions, and I'm interested in your observations. If you want to support the channel, simply like and subscribe. And if you want to watch more content, click here or click here. As always, thanks for your time. It is much appreciated.